Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash and I'm joined by Donny and Drew as we go through the NFL 2020 regular season win totals. And it's the NFC West. A lot of people had the 49ers down to win the Super Bowl last year. And at 10.5, they lead the way in the NFC East. Seattle Seahawks at 9, the Rams at 9, and the Cards at 7.5, Drew.
Boy, man, 10.5 is a big number for a team that everything worked. Everything went well for them. Everything went right. You know, it's a big number. And as we saw in the Super Bowl, they still have some limitations with their secondary. They have some coverage issues. And Richard Sherman, a year older, he really played way above the level we expected from him last year. If he slides back at all, this is a team that's going to have to win it with offense. Now, thankfully, they have Kyle Shanahan, who is no doubt, a top 5 coach in the NFL. He kicks major ass. His game planning is brilliant. And I would expect that he continues to make the most out of Jimmy Garoppolo, who's clearly a league average quarterback, but he makes him, plays him up to top 10 level. So they have enough pieces on offense that I think they're going to be able to weather the some of the regression that is going to come for them on the defensive side of the ball, that they're going to be in the discussion for the playoffs. This is a playoff team for sure. Are they going to win the NFC West? It's going to be awfully tough because this is a very, very, very competitive division all of a sudden. Last year, we kind of looked around at each other and we were like, well, it's not going to be the Rams, but I'm not 100% sure who. We'll just take some value on the Niners at 4-1. This was in the summer. That turned out to be pretty lucky because they were a goal line stand away from giving away the division to the Seattle Seahawks. But this is a team that I think absolutely has to be considered in contention for the NFC just on the basis of how talented they are top to bottom with this roster. And it's just a matter of, do you get the same kind of performance out of the defense that you got last year? And if they do, then they go over. But I'm gonna stay and see. I need to see the schedule first.
Yeah, Donny, I mean, if anyone, these teams, if they're going to lose out on that NFC bye, it's going to be because of the Seahawks. It's going to be the Rams. It's going to be the Cubs. It's going to be what happens in this division.
Really competitive division. I still have I like what the San Francisco 49ers are about, and I think you get a different Jimmy G during the regular season than you do get in the playoffs, where you saw their defense was so dominant and was kind of hindrance, because I agree with what Kyle Shanahan was doing up to a point, saying, look, Jimmy's not really playing that well. Let's just lean on our defense. And it got you the Super Bowl and almost got you a Super Bowl victory. But I think the reins will be back off Jimmy G. I think he'll be fine in the regular season, which leads me to believe that they are going to win this division. But you always have Russell Wilson. If you throw Russell Wilson out, as long as he is active and healthy, that team is going to be certainly in the mix for division heading down the stretch. They still have a nice home field advantage. But what's going to happen with Jadeveon Clowney? How about the 2 linebackers that used to leaning on there in Seattle? The Legion of Boom no longer there. They have a little bit of down spots. The one team that's going to be on the come up a little bit for me is the Arizona Cardinals. Now, they do get Hopkins. That offense is going to be fun. Team total overs might be in effect. But the one team I'm really worried about here, and it's not so much that they're shedding talent that, isn't all that effective, because Todd Gurley leaving doesn't really move the boat all the well for me. Matthews leaving on defense. They still have the semblance and a lot of talent on that team, but it's all up to Jared Goff. Is he going to take that next step forward? Is Sean McVay going to dial up plays where we saw 2 years ago where he could be really effective? Or are we going to get that Jared Goff that left off in the Super Bowl and never seemed to get out of his own way last year? That's going to be a key ingredient to me. But I think the clear 2 dogs in the division, anytime you have Russell Wilson, you're going to be in it as long as he's healthy. But this is San Francisco's division to me to win. I'm just interested to see in the way that the Rams actually operate this season and how they get through it and what I get out of Jared Goff. Arizona Cardinals still a little bit away. Rams on the way down. I still think you get a nice 2-team race up top, and I got the San Francisco 49ers hitting their team total and winning the division again. I just like that football team. Got it all.
Yeah, I can see probably both of them, Drew. The Seahawks and the 49ers hitting double figures. I wouldn't be surprised if we have an 11-5 win for the 49ers and maybe a 10-6 for the Seahawks, which means the 9 you can go over.
I'm cautiously selling the Seahawks. Cautiously selling.
Okay.
Obviously, Russell Wilson is the second best quarterback in the NFL after Pat Mahomes. If you were doing a redraft of the entire league, he would be the number 2 overall pick, and that is worth something. That's worth 8 wins probably. But the degradation of talent on defense has been pretty aggressive. They got a lot of wins last year in games where it was a coin flip. And, you look at their score differential and you look at all of the advanced metrics of this team. Yeah, they got, easily got double-digit wins last year, but that's just going to be an 8-8 season for them if a couple of things don't go right. They played down to some of the bottom teams in the league last year. You got a 1-point win against the Bengals. Last year's Bengals, they beat them by 1 point at home. We've seen a general kind of decay of the home field advantage that is present at Seattle's stadium. All of these are factors that I think you have to be a little bit cautiously expecting them to be the same old Seahawks. And Pete Carroll, his offensive approach is not conducive with what especially does well in today's NFL. Like, if they are winning again this year, it's going to be a lot of luck. It's going to be a lot of Russell Wilson. They just put the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter and they say, hey, go win it, man. And he's good enough to do that against a lot of teams. But just sort of the general kind of expectation of this team from a regression standpoint, coming back to what the data tells you, this should be a 9-win team this year. And the fact that something's going to have to give with the Cardinals coming on pretty damn strong, I would say that, I would look squarely at the Seahawks, because the Seahawks got, 2 pretty comfortable wins against the Cardinals last year. And I don't think those are necessarily gimmies this year. And, the Seahawks got a gift of a win against the Niners last year. I don't think you're going to be able to manifest that this year. So I think they're going to be hard pressed to make their number. And I think they're going to be kind of one of those teams fighting for that 7th playoff spot, because you're going to have a lot of competition in the kind of the 8-9 win range this year in the NFC.
Yeah, that was the main reason I thought the Seahawks, they were at 9, not 9.5. And that was the big thing for me, that I thought they're definitely going to be over the 500 win. So your 9 was going to be a push, 9 and 7, but they've got to be better than that. And I totally agree with you that, the amount of games they won by in the last 30 seconds, it was under, I think, like maybe 6 or 7 wins, under 2 or 3 points. But I think we'll wrap up. NFC West, over 10.5 for the 49ers. I think we're in agreement. There's going to be 11-5, worst case scenario for the 49ers. And can we beat up on the Rams to have a 500 season or below?
I vote, yeah. I'm down on the Rams this year.
Yeah, no, look, the needle's not pointing up on the Rams anymore. So, yes, I would agree with that as well.
Okay, that's brilliant. We'll wrap up the NFC West. The 49ers, they win it. They go 11-5. Worst case scenario, so go above the 10.5. And the Rams at 9. Not this year, my son. Not this year. We'll sell. We'll go under. Thanks, Donnie. Thanks, Drew. Looking forward to it. See you soon.